Welcome to our summary of Atomic Habits by James Clear, one of the most impactful self-improvement books out there, with over 1 million readers worldwide. This book dives into the power of small, consistent habits that can lead to big changes in your life. In this video, we'll walk you through each chapter, starting with Chapter 1, to see how these tiny, powerful habits can help you improve, stay motivated, and transform your daily routine. Stick around to learn how small changes can make a big difference. Chapter 1, The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. In Atomic Habits, Chapter 1 unveils an eye-opening lesson about the power of small habits and why they're the key to big results. Lesson 1, small habits take time, but their impact is massive. At first, these tiny actions might seem pointless, barely making a difference, but with consistency, their effects multiply, bringing real change to your life. Here's the kicker. Don't focus on setting goals. Focus on building solid habits and systems. Goals, while motivating, don't guarantee success. In fact, both winners and losers often share the same goals. What sets them apart is the daily habits and effort that build toward those goals over time. So if you're patient and committed to a routine, those small habits will build momentum and take you further than you ever imagined. Most of us set goals because we think, once I reach this, I'll finally be happy. But here's the catch. That kind of thinking actually keeps happiness out of reach. Why? Because every time we hit a goal, we just set another one, pushing that feeling of happiness further down the line. And here's the surprising twist. Many people believe self-improvement starts after achieving a goal, like it's a reward. But true growth happens in the journey, not just the destination. So instead of waiting to be happy someday, imagine building a life where happiness and progress are part of your daily routine. That's the real secret behind Atomic Habits. Chapter 2, How Your Habits Shape Your Identity. In Chapter 2 of Atomic Habits, James Clear reveals a powerful truth. Your habits define your identity. There are 3 levels of change. 1, outcome change, aiming for specific results. 2, process change, focusing on routines and habits. 3, identity change, transforming who you believe you are. Here's the game changer. True transformation happens when you change your identity. Anyone can be motivated to eat healthy once or twice, but if you start seeing yourself as someone who values health, healthy choices start coming naturally. So how do you make identity change stick? It's a 2-step process. First, decide who you want to become. Then, prove it to yourself with small wins. Each time you read a page, for example, you're reinforcing the identity of being a reader. Instead of setting a goal to finish a book, focus on embodying the identity of a reader. Chapter 3, How to Build Better Habits. In Chapter 3 of Atomic Habits, we dive into the science of building powerful, lasting habits. A habit is any behavior you've repeated so often, it becomes automatic, designed to solve a recurring problem in your life. Think about it. If you're hungry, you might make a sandwich. If you've done it enough times, you don't have to think about it, you just act. This automatic habit process follows a 4-step feedback loop. 1, cue, something triggers the habit like feeling hungry. 2, craving, you get the desire, maybe for a sandwich. 3, response, you make the sandwich. 4, reward, eating it satisfies your hunger. Now, let's say you want to lose weight. Instead of reaching for a sandwich, you could build a new habit around a healthier option, like a salad. Here's how you'd apply the 4 laws of behavior change to make it stick. 1, make the cue obvious. Keep fresh salads or healthy snacks visible in your fridge. 2, make the craving attractive. Stock up on colorful fruits and veggies you love. Make the response easy. Have salads prepped and ready to go in clean containers. 4, make the reward satisfying. Add a favorite topping or dressing to make it delicious. By following these steps, you're not just building a habit, you're building a lifestyle. Chapter 4, The Man Who Didn't Notice His Own Habits. In Chapter 4 of Atomic Habits, James Clear highlights something fascinating. Many of us are on autopilot with our habits. They're so automatic, we don't even realize they're happening. If you want to change a bad habit, you first have to recognize it. One powerful method for this is called pointing and calling, where you speak out each action as you're doing it. For example, if you're thirsty, you say, "I'm thirsty," before grabbing a drink. This simple technique raises your awareness, helping you recognize patterns in your behavior. Another great tool is the habit scorecard. Write down everything you do in a day, and then evaluate each habit as good, bad, or neutral. This will give you a clear picture of what's actually helping or holding you back. Chapter 5, the best way to start a new habit. In Chapter 5 of Atomic Habits, we uncover one of the most powerful tools for building new habits, setting clear intentions around when and where they'll happen. The two most common cues for a habit are time and location, so use them to your advantage. Here's how it works. Create an implementation intention. This formula is simple yet effective. I will new habit at time in location. For example, I'll take an evening walk at 5:30 around my neighborhood. By setting a specific time and place, you eliminate excuses and give your new habit a solid spot in your day. But there's more. You can make this even easier by using habit stacking. Habit stacking means pairing your new habit with one you already do. Want to go for an evening walk? Link it to something you do every evening, like reading. For example, after reading my favorite book, I'll go for a walk. This simple technique connects new habits to your current routine, making them easier to remember and stick with over time. Chapter 6. Why motivation is overrated. Your environment is key. Starting new habits can be so much easier in a fresh environment. Why? Because you're free from the old cues that trigger your past habits. Every habit begins with a cue, something that grabs your attention and pushes you toward a certain action. And guess what? We're more likely to notice the cues that stand out. Here's a simple example. If you want to read more, leave a book somewhere you can easily see it, like your coffee table or nightstand. It'll be right there, reminding you to pick it up. This principle also explains why you might reach for sweets on your kitchen counter even if you're not hungry. They're just there, calling your name. So, if you're looking to build good habits, let your environment work for you, not against you. Chapter 7. The Secret to Self-Control. In Chapter 7 of Atomic Habits, James Clear shares a fascinating insight. Once a habit is ingrained, it's hard to forget. But here's the secret. You don't have to rely on willpower alone to overcome it. Instead, use the inversion of the first law of behavior change and make the temptation invisible. A powerful example of this comes from research during the Vietnam War. Studies revealed that 35% of U.S. soldiers had tried heroin, and 20% became addicted. The government expected high relapse rates when these soldiers returned home, but the results were surprising. Only 5% of them relapsed within a year, and just 12% within 3 years. In other words, 9 out of 10 soldiers kicked their addiction nearly overnight, simply by leaving the environment where they felt the temptation. This study shows that addiction and other strong habits can dissolve with a drastic change in environment. In Vietnam, soldiers were surrounded by cues that encouraged heroin use. Back home, those cues disappeared, and so did the habit. So if you want better self-control, don't depend solely on willpower. Instead, remove yourself from tempting situations whenever possible. Chapter 8. How to make a habit irresistible. According to the second law of behavior change, if we want to stick with new habits, we need to make them attractive. Why? Because habits are all about dopamine-driven feedback. It's not just the reward itself that pushes us to take action. It's the anticipation of that reward. Our brains are wired to crave the feeling of wanting even more than actually liking the reward. In other words, desire is the fuel that powers all of our actions. Think about it. You're much more likely to feel motivated to do something if there's a sense of reward waiting. And here's a great trick. Combine something you need to do with something you want to do. This is called temptation bundling, and it's a game changer. For instance, let's say you want to stay on top of your chores, like washing the dishes. You can make it a lot more enjoyable by pairing it with something you love, like listening to your favorite podcast. By creating these bundles, you transform your daily tasks into something you actually look forward to. Chapter 9. The Power of Family and Friends in Building Habits. Welcome to Chapter 9. Here, we uncover one of the most influential forces in shaping our habits: the people around us. We all have a powerful drive to fit in with the tribes we admire, whether that's family, friends, or communities we look up to. This deep-rooted need to belong influences which habits we adopt and how we live. We usually model our behaviors after 3 social groups. First, the close, our friends and family. Next, the many, our larger community or tribe. And finally, the powerful, those we view as influential or successful. Each of these groups pulls us towards certain actions and values. So how can we use this to build better habits? Surround yourself with people or communities where 1. The behavior you want is seen as normal. 2. You share something in common with the group. Welcome to Chapter 10, where the second law of breaking a bad habit is to make it unattractive. If we want to stop a bad habit in its tracks, we need to strip away its appeal and see it for what it really is, an obstacle to our growth and well-being. Bad habits stick because we associate them with something positive. But imagine flipping the script. What if every time you thought of that bad habit, you were reminded of its negative impact? For example, if you're trying to break the cycle of drinking, keep reminding yourself of the downsides. Read about the health risks. Remind yourself of how it impacts your energy, mood, and relationships. Welcome to Chapter 11. Here, we dive into the third law of behavior change. Make it easy. The secret to lasting change isn't in endless planning, it's in taking action. True learning happens through practice, not preparation. Every habit starts as a challenge, but with repetition, it becomes second nature. Think about it. When you first learned to drive, it took a lot of focus and energy just to stay on the road. You had to carefully judge distances, choose routes, and manage gear shifts. It felt overwhelming. But over time, these actions became automatic. Now, driving might even feel relaxing. The same principle applies to building any habit. At first, it may feel hard and awkward, but if you keep at it, it'll soon become part of your routine. Chapter 12, the law of least effort. This chapter reveals a fundamental principle of human behavior. We naturally follow the path of least resistance. Given 2 choices, we usually pick the one that's easiest, even if it's not the best for us. So, how do we make this work for us instead of against us? The trick is to design an environment where good habits are easy and bad habits are difficult. Think of it as setting up default wins. For example, if you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nutritious snacks and skip the junk food. Chapter 13, How to Stop Procrastinating with the 2-Minute Rule. If you're ready to tackle procrastination, let's talk about the 2-minute rule. The idea is simple. When starting a new habit, make sure it only takes 2 minutes or less. Why? Because the hardest part of any habit is getting started. By keeping the first step short and simple, you make the habit so easy you can't say no. Think about it. Instead of committing to a full workout, start with 5 minutes. Want to read more? Just pick up a book and read 2 pages. Looking to live healthier? Listen to a 1-minute health podcast. Chapter 14, Make Good Habits Unstoppable. In this chapter, we dive into the third law of changing behavior. Make it difficult for bad habits to stick. This isn't about willpower alone. It's about setting up your life so that good habits are practically inevitable. Imagine setting up a commitment device, a choice you make today to lock in better behavior tomorrow. One of the easiest ways to do this is by automating your good habits. Take automatic savings plans, for instance. A one-time setup that effortlessly grows your savings and rewards you over time. It's like setting yourself up for success with minimal effort. Chapter 15, The Golden Rule of Behavior Change. Ready to crack the ultimate secret to building habits that actually stick? Welcome to the 4th law of behavior change. Make it satisfying. Here's the truth. Our brains are wired to chase instant rewards, and this rule is the key to using that wiring in our favor. The golden rule? What's immediately rewarded gets repeated. What's immediately punished gets avoided. Imagine this. Every time you resist an impulse buy, you stash that cash for an unforgettable vacation. That small, instant satisfaction, the thought of lounging on a beach, helps you say no to the checkout line. Chapter 16, How to Make Good Habits Stick. Every day. Ever felt that rush when you look back and see just how far you've come? One of the best ways to keep that momentum going is with a habit tracker. It's simple, effective, and gives you visible proof of your progress. Each checkmark or tally is a reminder that you're on the right path, and that feels amazing. Think of it like this. Keeping your streak alive becomes its own kind of reward. Missed a day? No worries. Just jump back in as soon as possible and keep the streak strong. Chapter 17. The game-changing power of an accountability partner. Breaking a bad habit often means making it unsatisfying or even painful. And nothing brings that sting like knowing someone else is watching. When you bring someone else into your goal, whether it's a friend, family member, or colleague, you add a layer of social cost. We care about how others see us, so we're less likely to slip when it might impact how they view us. Try setting up a habit contract with your accountability partner to make any broken promise public and, yes, a little painful. Chapter 18. The truth about talent. Are you playing to your strengths? Here's the real secret to setting yourself up for success. Choose habits that suit who you are. It's not just about willpower or personality. Even your genes play a role in making some habits feel natural and others a struggle. When you align your habits with your natural strengths, you're setting yourself up to win. Imagine playing a game that's made for you, where your unique talents give you an edge. And if you can't find that game, create it. But remember, talent doesn't replace hard work. It just shows you where to direct it for the biggest payoff. Chapter 19. The Goldilocks Rule. Unlocking motivation in life and work. Ever wondered how to keep pushing forward even when the thrill wears off? That's where the Goldilocks Rule comes in. It's easy to work hard when you're motivated, but true success comes from staying consistent, even when things get tough. The Goldilocks Rule reveals that we hit peak motivation when tackling tasks right at the edge of our abilities, where the challenge is just manageable. This is the sweet spot where we're focused, energized, and ready to go. Psychologists call this the Yerkes-Dodson law, which shows that optimal performance happens in the balance between boredom and anxiety. Chapter 20. The hidden pitfall of good habits. Good habits can make life easier, but there's a catch. When routines become automatic, we can stop paying attention to the small mistakes that hold us back. Mastery isn't just about building habits, it's about refining them. To keep growing, we need to regularly reflect and review our progress. Here's the trick. Write down your habits over a month or year, then ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What went well? 2. What didn't go well? 3. What did I learn? This simple process helps you spot areas for improvement and make adjustments so your habits evolve with you.